A cold, dark night in Louisville, Kentucky, but that's when the stars typically shine their brightest. Dane Kelly has the most goals in the modern history of the championship. He leads Charlotte into Louisville to take on Cameron Lancaster, who scored more big goals than we can count. The game we waited all week for. Charlotte, Louisville right now. We've been waiting all week for this Saturday night matchup. Two of the favorites in this horse race for the USL Championship final. Lynn Family Stadium, tough ticket to get. Lou City and Charlotte Independence. Tonight's match is presented by Toyota. With the former Man United goalkeeper Gary Bailey, Mike Watts on hand. It's been a very busy time in the USL Championship playoffs presented by Twin Spires. Out west, upsets at the top of the bracket, the twos advance. Meanwhile, in the East, Gary, we've got all chalk at this point, and these are the matchups everyone pays to watch.
Yeah, some of the best teams in the USL right here in the East. Rowdies, mind you, they should have a good time against Birmingham Legion simply because they're a fantastic side and they're at home. But this is the matchup, Mike. This is the one I think everyone's been wanting to see. Charlotte, a loaded side, absolutely fantastic. Best form side in the USL coming into this game against a team who's been to 6 playoffs in a row. Come on, you're kidding me. 2 fantastic teams.
And you got to be kidding me with this Independence offense.
Look at this. Martinez, Marveau turns. This is what they can produce and why I think Lou City's going to be tested tonight more than they've been tested the entire season. Coming off the right-hand side, Joel, top corner there. Absolutely brilliant. So many guns in this Charlotte side, but Lou City, they're fantastic. They're at home. They might be able to stop Gabriel Oberton and company.
Well, the good news is the defense is playing as well as it has all year. They've only allowed 1 shot on target the last 2 games combined.
Yeah, you can see that Chris Hubbard there, when he's needed, comes up with some fantastic saves. But yeah, Sean Tosh, Wes Sharpie rocks at the back there, and Jimenez and Gomez bombing down the wings. There's Hubbard again. Such a brave and such a good goalkeeper.
Can they hold up tonight against Charlotte? They are not making any changes to the 11. Alexi Swahi on international duty, more on that later. And no Josh Winder, he's injured, so the center backs you see are the ones you're going to get.
Yeah, they better not get injured. You can see they're sort of taking their normal 4-1-4-1 shape. It can change to 4-3-3, but McCabe generally sits deep and allows Bone and Del Piccolo to go forward. And of course, out wide, Ombi Gonzalez, who scored the winner in the last match against Miami, and the magical Cam Lancaster up front.
You mentioned Chris Hubbard earlier. He's our Commonwealth Credit Union player to watch. Commonwealth Credit Union has been bettering the lives of the communities they serve for 70 years. To learn more, visit WeSeeYouDifferently.com. Hubbard, the Louisville native, trying to slow down this Charlotte 11. Brought to you by Hometown Pizza, Pack in goal. No changes to this side either. It's that front 3 that's so terrifying.
It is. I mean, Dane Kelly, and if he's not in form, you've got Irvin Parra on the bench, by the way, also in double figures. Marveau and Oberton bring a different level of player to the USL, and that's why I think the Lou City defenders are going to have their hands full. Then you've got Enzo Martinez in midfield, a couple of sixes and Armin and Bronico who sit deep. It's a stacked team, 2 great sides. Mike, I can't wait for kickoff.
You and me both. We're ready to go here at Lynn Family Stadium. Charlotte, Louisville in the Eastern Conference semifinal when we return.
Hey, what's up? I'm Ethan.
And I'm Danielle, and we're back on the road in the aggressively styled, incredibly comfortable Toyota Highlander.
With your choice of a powerful V6
or best-in-class hybrid engine.
The Toyota Highlander can handle anything that comes your way.
And it holds its value better than anything in its class.
During Toyota's fall savings, get $500 TFS APR cash on any new 22 Highlander or Highlander Hybrid, plus 2 years no-cost maintenance.
It's pretty easy to see why.
Highlander is #1. Toyota. Let's go places.
Seasonal savings built for the holidays at Oxmoor Ford Lincoln.
Get holiday ready in a new Ford and save $2,500 off MSRP on the new 2021 Escape SE. Or save $2,000 off MSRP on the new 2021 Explorer XLT. Or get 0% APR for 60 months and save $500 off MSRP on the new 2021 Edge SEL.
Don't miss these year-end holiday savings at Oxmoor Ford Lincoln on Shelbyville Road and at OxmoorFLM.com.
Our workday starts at 4 a.m. Are you surprised at the people who are up working at the crack of dawn?
You know, we talk about UPS, we talk about Ford, we talk about healthcare, people getting off their shift and coming home and trying to chill out. And those are the folks who we're talking to, the hardworking folks that are making our economy move.
You know, I run into a couple of people that are bus drivers for the school systems. They get up very early and they want to see the weather forecast, and they also want to see that traffic.
I'm a landscaper, I do paving work, I do roofing work, and they really are counting on us to give them a forecast.
Want to take the dog out for a walk. The kids are going to go to the playground. Is it going to rain at this exact same time? Get them ready at 5 a.m. and the day keeps on going.
I have a lot of farmers and people who work outside, like construction workers or builders. They always tell me they get up with us early because they need to prepare for the day and find out what the weather is.
You get to appreciate, you know, the people who do those jobs. It's an honor, you know, to help them get through their day.
Let's take a look at tonight's weather report. It's brought to you by Advanced ENT and Allergy. Ahead of the curve, relief around the corner, serving Louisville, Central Kentucky, and Southern Indiana. It's the coldest night of the year so far for Louisville City Soccer, Blue City, and Charlotte Independence. It's the Eastern Conference semifinal that everyone's had circled. Underway in Kentucky. Mike Watts, Gary Bailey, glad to have you aboard Louisville City and the Charlotte Independence to see who faces the winner, Birmingham and Tampa Bay. Champion of the Central Division taking on the second place team in the Atlantic. Louisville, a win last week against Miami, 1-0. Charlotte made quick work of Memphis, 3-1. Tosh reverses back, Hubbard on the ball.
Yeah, Mike, as we said earlier, these are two of the best teams at the moment. Certainly in terms of form, Charlotte just 1 loss and 1 draw in their last 14. That's the best out of any USL team, last 14 games. So they're the most informed side. And we also mentioned for Lou City, 6th consecutive playoffs, twice the champions, and as you said, top of the Central. I mean, you don't get better than this. And if this was a normal regular season game, Mike, you'd be saying, well, one team can afford to lose, make it up next week. This is it. This is a playoff. This is loser goes home. Everything to play for. It's going to be a fantastic match, one way or the other.
Sharpie rolls ahead, returned by Bone. Last loss for Charlotte was September 26th at Birmingham. They made some significant alterations to their team over the summer. And with Christian Fuchs, former Leicester City star, Sylvain Marveaux, Gabriel Oberton, night and day. This deflects, gets out for a corner early in this one, a Vivify corner to come.
I think this is important for Lou City as well. If they can get on the front foot at home in front of this incredible support and a wonderful stadium, Danny Cruz will want, you know, an early goal, and that might just shake Charlotte up. Charlotte have seemed invincible. An early goal at Lou City, and that man's team will really be on the front foot.
Named the head coach officially 33 days ago. Ball across, Pack as far as Gonzalez, and Bone recovers. Rolls out beyond McCabe. Danny Cruz, the interim from Game 2 up to October 11th. Signed a multi-year extension. He's now officially part of the furniture here in Louisville. Gonzalez. This portion of tonight's game is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. This will run out. Chance for us to take a look at our keys to the match here tonight. They are presented by the Kentucky Lottery. Managed defensive transitions for Louisville.
That was a big concern of Danny Cruz, just how quick and how well Charlotte can suddenly go from defense into attack. He said his team have to be ready for this because they do it quicker than most. And if, from a Charlotte point of view, Mike Jeffries a little bit concerned perhaps about Ownby's pace on that right-hand side. Christian Fuchs at 35 years old up against Ownby, and that's going to make sure, you have to make sure that you've got a bit of cover for Fuchs. Already they're trying to get the ball to Ownby in exactly that position there. So Fuchs will be looking over his shoulder, and looking for Hugh Roberts just to cover him whenever Ownby's up against him.
Those keys were powered by the Kentucky Lottery, who remind you that lottery proceeds fund college scholarship and grant programs, including every dollar of the popular Keys Scholarship Program. See Mike Jeffries there, not just a long sleeve shirt this time around. He's got the puffy vest as well, known for those short sleeve fashion, although he neglected to follow in the idea that he truly is a trendsetter of sorts.
I think the short sleeve shirts, but bearing in mind it's close to freezing, probably is not a good idea, Mike. So, but interesting that we've seen both coaches. Mike Jeffries at 59, super experienced, been there, done it. Danny Cruz, an up-and-coming coach at 31. There's a whole generational gap between the two of them, and it'll be interesting to see how they fare under this sort of level of pressure. And I guess for Mike, this will be one of the best squads he's ever had the pleasure of coaching.
It's a side that had been stymied in all 3 postseason appearances before this year. That's a strong-willed challenge in the back from Christian Fuchs, and that's exactly what you anticipated.
Yeah, I said he's gonna give him a good smack, Brian Ownby, early on, and that's what, experienced defenders do to players who threaten them. It's almost a sign of respect in a way. And Brian Ownby, he's been around enough, and he knows at 31 years of age exactly where the weaknesses are of Fuchs, and he can take those knocks.
This is a very painful early card for Paulo Del Piccolo. Just 5 minutes into the game, caught Enzo Martinez powering through midfield.
That's a bad one to give away this early in the game, and don't need to crunch a play. Let's have a look here. Enzo just going forward. Even if he gets the ball, if you take part of the player in the process, and I think he did, he caught Enzo's left ankle there, and he's saying he got the ball, but no, you got the player as well. These days you can't do that. And as we always say in these situations, you've now got, 85 odd minutes in which you can't afford to get another yellow. It just limits your ability to produce a professional foul, jump with your arms up, do any of those things. Paulo Del Piccolo, not the best thing to do, but he's clever enough to manage the process, you would think, from here.
Well, it's his 10th yellow card of the year. He's yet to be sent off. Louisville has not had a player sent off all season, believe it or not. And there's a foul. That's Jake Arman going to ground. Eligiel Arguin is the referee tonight.
I would think the referee's got a big job in his hands here tonight, because this is going to be very close. I think it's going to be chippy. Players who normally wouldn't get into trouble, their tension might just get to them. As a referee, I think he's got to stamp his authority as quickly as possible, Mr. Arguin.
Well, appeals back and forth. It's going to be with Charlotte here. Over Gonzalez continued objections. Danny Cruz having a word or two cross-field as well. These two sides have extraordinarily different approaches to knockout games. Mike Jeffries said Enzo Martinez came off the field with a look of relief on his face last week against Memphis. It was the first time Charlotte had advanced in the USL Championship playoffs, which isn't to say that Charlotte hasn't had some enchanted runs in the US Open Cup. But now it's finally transferred over in the games that matter most at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think for most of the regular Charlotte players, this is an exciting phase to be in. But I think for some of the other pros you mentioned, the Obertons, Marvos, who've played in English Premier League, they've experienced this and a lot more many, many times over. So they won't be fazed by it. And certainly the other players at Charlotte will be super excited to go further than they've ever been before.
Arman from Kelly. Slashes back, room here to run. Gabriel Oberton, Marveau, leading Johnson, stabs across, all the way to the backside. A ton of contact with Dane Kelly, getting pile-driven to ground.
Dane Kelly appealing to the referee, saying maybe he was pushed, but that's the danger that Charlotte bring to a Lou City side who are normally very dominant at home, but this combination, Oberton, Marveau, Joel Johnson, trying to find Dane Kelly in the middle there. One quite sure whether he got pushed or shoved or just bumped, or all part and parcel of the play. But that's the ability to move the ball at pace, and that was the concern that we raised with the Keys. The concern of Danny Cruz is that transitional movement of Charlotte is quick and it's pacey and it causes teams problems.
Fuchs rises up. Touchback by Tosh. Winding run by Enzo Martinez, who himself is guilty of a foul. Now McCabe going down. McCabe was on the field 2017 last time Charlotte beat Louisville City. There were 7 current Louisville players featuring in that game. For Charlotte, only 1 remains from that time. It's Enzo Martinez, who scored a hat trick. These teams haven't met since 2019. Truth of the matter, Charlotte's never won in Louisville. Not at Slugger Field. They've never had the chance here at Lynn Family Stadium. Back to Hubbard.
It's always the first time, and if you're a Charlotte Independence fan, you're looking at this side going, well, if ever we're going to win, it's going to be with this incredibly stacked team that we've got.
Marveau ahead, Oberton gains his feet. Arman to the backside, looking for Kelly. This was touched, it is a corner.
Again, good ball into the box, asking questions, as they did of Memphis early on in their last match, Charlotte. It's a testing time for Lou City. There's very few games they've played this season where they've been tested as much as they're likely to get tested today. Gabriel Oberton, such a good turn. Good ball in from Jake Arman, and Dan Kelly just trying to squeeze in at that far post.
See Riascos in the midst of all this. One of the key targets for Jake Arman. Arman delivers, headers away, tees up from Marveau, out to Oberton. Slices back, there's Hubbard. The roar of the crowd behind him.
Not sure what Oberton was trying to do with that ball. I don't know if he just mishit it slightly, it didn't have any pace, went straight to the goalkeeper, wasn't aiming for, didn't sort of head towards a white shirt, so don't think that's what he intended. But again, first 10 minutes, you've got to say Charlotte have been on that front foot a lot more than Lou City have. Early days, though.
Tosh, Ownby has to circle back. There was support there for Fuchs, and Menez was pushing forward, and Fuchs up the line. Had already lost it to touch. That's going to be one of the big stories of this game. How Ownby can get at Fuchs 1v1. Just different skill sets, the two of them.
Yeah, the pace of Ownby is going to worry the likes of Fuchs at 35 years of age. Fuchs is a good reader of the game, so that's what you've got. A great reader of the game, in fact, against a very pacey and skillful winger in Ownby.
Brought down by Jimenez. He's got gloves on. It's that time of year now in Louisville. Temperatures just above freezing for this Eastern Conference semifinal. Winner of this one will take on the winner of Birmingham and Tampa Bay, a match currently ongoing at Al Lang Stadium in St. Pete. Charlotte would go on the road regardless. Louisville would host Birmingham but go away to Tampa Bay should they get through. Arman got the shot away. It's right at Hubbard's head.
The idea was good. There's no power in the shot and straight at the goalkeeper. But I mean, even Jake Arman's a threat, and he's more of a defensive midfielder, but he can get forward. Of course, Enzo Martinez can get forward. So they really come at you from every angle, Charlotte. Settling with possession now, Lou City, and just talking about some of their players. They've been together a long time. You mentioned 2017. They've won it twice. They've been in 6 successive playoffs. 12 players have appeared in 100+ games for Lou City. And our current commentator, it's his 100th calling of Lou City. One, Michael Watts.
Yeah, that's right.
Well done, sir.
How many? You're working towards 100, right?
I'm way short of 100.
You're on your way. You're on the Jorge Gonzalez level of calling Louisville City games.
Thank you. But I think that's it. When you've got 12 players in a squad, and most of them in the starting 11 who have played 100 times, you've got a lot of understanding between these Lou City players.
That's a quick throw through. Ownby is switched on to the Louisville attacking left. Piccolo misfires and rolls back to Pack. Does it affect you in the game, that experience you have, or is it more in the lead up to the game that experience benefits you?
The experience of having played many times in these, I think it helps you in the game itself, because these games are different. And I've played in a couple of cup finals, and you don't know what the day is going to bring. You've got the nerves, you're worried, you're not quite sure if your form will be the way you hope it will be. So a lot of stuff goes on in your head, but the more times you're playing these games, the more calm you are, the more you just rely on your skills and hope you can produce them on the day.
A foul by the very expressive Enzo Martinez.
He works the referee. Last week he worked the referee non-stop in the Memphis game. He does it very skillfully. He doesn't get himself into trouble, but he questions every decision in a very subtle way of trying to get the ref to blow in your direction.
That's a bit slow in midfield. Bronico. Kelly swerves this back. Oberton dances. Ball ricochets free. Martinez. Oberton. Armin. Marveau. Armin dangerously, and Hubbard comes out and got a good piece of Dane Kelly. That is a rock in a hard place, but that ball just fell between.
Yeah, Hubbard doing well to read that. But again, a dangerous ball in the box. A lot coming from Jake Armin. I wouldn't have thought of him as being a main supplier of opportunities this early in the game, but he's been very sprightly down that left-hand side. Whipped in a few balls. Chris Hubbard doing well to read that one.
Now it's intriguing because Marveau and Oberton arrived midway through the season. As this intercepted by Kelly, but it was a handball. It caught him on the bicep. Sean Tosh is saying, shouldn't that be a card for the intentional handball? Kelly, 99 goals, 11 in the regular season this year. Chances galore against Memphis, unable to bag one. But it's Jake Armin who led the team as Pack has to come out and swat that away. It was Armin who led the team in chances created over the course of the year, albeit with a larger sample size.
He sneaks up on you a little bit, Jake Armin, because you're so focused on the so-called bigger names, and he does a really good job down that left-hand side for Charlotte.
Oh, clever. Jimenez, Bone, and now through. Ombi crossing, falls, Del Piccolo! There's Pack. It's a bit of a popped shot that Pack's able to go over and collect.
100% right. He's tried to sort of chip it into the corner, perhaps, instead of just hitting it hard. Now, this is Ombi. We said he's going to be a problem for Charlotte. Ball comes in there. Now, hit it hard. He tries to, I don't know, maybe aim for the top corner, but the goalkeeper, Austin Pack, saw it coming all the way. In the end, it didn't even test him. But now, Lou City showing there, or baring their teeth, you might say, in attack. And that's a little warning for Charlotte that this is also going to be an extremely difficult match. And Brian Ombi, as suspected, being one of the major threats for Lou City.
It's starting to be the back and forth game that we anticipated, maybe just longer spells for each team.
100%. Two very good teams, both capable of good attacks, both solid in defense. And I agree with you, it is going to go up and down throughout most of the match as Gomez just sees that over the line. Big match for Jonathan Gomez. We all know he's heading off to Spain, to La Real. But at 18 years of age, he is by far the youngest player on the pitch. In fact, the average age is probably around about 27, 28. The two very, very experienced teams. But he's young. The other youngish player would be Jorge Gonzalez at 23. They might just get tested tonight. They might, the older players might just, leave a little stud here and there, an elbow, just to test them to see if they have the big match temperament in a playoff.
Just a little touch,
it's
tap.
It's what the experienced players tend to do. They knock you around, and if you stand up to it, they leave you alone. If you start to get a bit, chippy and moaning and fighting, then they'll keep coming at you.
Gonzalez, you saw a moment ago, Tampa Bay and Birmingham have reached halftime in St. Pete, scoreless there. Winner of this match will see the winner of that match in the Eastern Conference Final. game in which Louisville has played every year of their existence. Conversely, what we know out west is San Antonio prepares for their Copa Tejas fixture against RGV, and Orange County welcomes Oakland. Whoever comes out of the west will travel to the east for the USL Championship final come November 28th. The way the points have fallen with El Paso and Phoenix out.
Never easy, is it? Every time we've seen these cross-divisional games where East have had to travel out west or vice versa, teams have struggled in general. Long journey, different conditions. So it will not be easy for the West to come all the way out to the East.
Charlotte had to finish their season at Austin. What a tricky fixture that was.
Yeah, the flight was delayed, wasn't it? It was about a whole day, I think. It was the morning of the game. They had to fly, and these things can happen.
Ball bouncing ahead. There's Pack. Rolling this over. Fuchs. Armin. Lancaster chasing. Slide in off the mark from McCabe. Marveau. Looking for space. Tosh drags it away.
I think that was Corbin Bone who got back to make that tackle on Marveau. That's where Louis City are very sharp so far. When these quick transitional attacks come from Charlotte, they're getting bodies back, closing down the gaps as quickly as they possibly can. You might expect Corbin Bone to be more pushed up in attack against some teams, but I think he's lurking a little bit deeper against Charlotte until he's comfortable that those behind him can deal with the threat.
Del Piccolo, there's a little room to run out here. Gonzalez, who scored against Miami late. Pounding ball across, that didn't quite find Ombi. Jimenez, a long-time left back turned right back with the emergence of 18-year-old Jonathan Gomez on the left. Mentioned it, Real Sociedad beckons. Ball ahead, Lancaster. Leans back, Ombi won't get there, and Ombi finishes dangerously underneath Enzo Martinez. Del Piccolo is saying there's a bit of careless effort from Martinez that predicated that. But Ombi's gone into the book as well. He joins Paulo Del Piccolo on a card.
That's a tough yellow to get. I think he was having a swipe at a shot here, and have a look at it. Ombi cuts inside here. And at that point there, he goes for the, well, to be fair, he's missed the ball and he's caught the player. Now that I see it in slow motion, you miss the ball, you catch the player. He didn't mean any harm by it because he was going for the ball, but referee spot on. That's most certainly a foul, and in many people's book, a yellow card as well.
Certainly this referee's a vivify yellow card. I guess one question that remains is Danny Cruz has a spirited conversation with the fourth.
Spirited, nicely phrased.
Is whether Enzo Martinez found the flying shin guard. The yellow card potentially en route should Pack continue with a hastened free kick.
There's so much at stake in this match between two teams where there's so little difference in them. And those yellow cards could come back to haunt Louis City. You know, God forbid there's a second yellow and suddenly you're down to 10 men, but it can happen.
Gonzalez, Gomez, crafting, short of Ombi. Fuchs was there. Martinez, Armin. And to reiterate, over the course of the year, so often you'll see most anything you'll see in any individual game. Louisville's not had to play with 10 the entire season. Charlotte's had to do it on 3 occasions. Ball ahead, Ombi, that's blocked. Good recovery. Not Fuchs' first rodeo. Bone, Ombi, Jimenez. Crafts the service, bounces in front, Pack. Collects in front of Gonzalez.
And good goalkeeping, Pack, to read that, and great defending from Fuchs. But once again, it's Brian Ombi. They're able to find him. This is a wonderful switch from Jonathan Gomez. Brilliant pass. And if Ombi just traps that a little bit cleanly, a bit better first time around. He could have set it up. He got caught under his feet by the time he got there and struck it. Christian Fuchs had moved across. But that seems to be Lou City's game plan. Get it to Brian Ownby on the right-hand side and see if his pace and ability can get a shot on goal. And they've come very close a couple of times already.
This portion of tonight's game is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Joel Johnson. Martinez, longtime teammates in Charlotte. A team that's seen so much turnover these past few years and turmoil over these past few weeks publicly. Dangerous ball. Fuchs slides in. Ownby a second time. Corbin Bone. Del Piccolo through traffic. Jimenez the switch. Gonzalez leading Gomez. Bone. Gomez goes down. Referee instantly wags his finger no. And in goes Jimenez. Couple early cards going against Louisville. And now a call they feel hasn't gone their way in the penalty area, and suddenly 10,000 plus are up in arms.
I don't see that as a penalty. It's actually gone through Enzo Martinez's legs. Have a look here. Played in. I don't think Gomez has got a touch on it. If he gets a touch on it, different story, but I didn't see enough there. And in fact, it's Jimenez who gets a talking to because he clattered Overton, brought him to the ground. But if you're in Lindland Family Stadium and any of your players go down in the box, you're going to call. That's the pressure on the referee.
Ball clipped over the top. Marveau in behind. Whistle blows. Wouldn't have counted either way.
Just living on the edge there, Marveau. Just caught offside this time, but maybe it won't be next time. Thought he should have finished it off, though. I always like to see strikers, no matter whether they think they're offside or not, still find the back of the net. But that's the threat for the centre-backs at Lou City.
Jimenez. Trying to dip in behind. Take something better than that.
Did he take it down well, Christian Fuchs, or what? Out of the air, controls the ball immediately.
Kelly, not the best touch. Otherwise, Overton maybe off on the run. Free kick to Louisville here. Louisville at home has been a juggernaut historically, whether it's Danny Cruz, John Hackworth, James O'Connor, or the triumvirate leading the side. 6 conference finals in 6 years, trying to make it 7-7. They've only lost twice in knockout matches between the championship postseason and the Open Cup, and here at Lynn Stadium, the new Lynn Family Stadium, nearly unbeatable as well.
Fantastic team in every sense, and their current form, especially at home, won 4 in the last 4, won 9 of the last 10 at home, Lou City.
Obstruction from Enzo Martinez. Now McCabe arguing there should be a card for that too. It's Del Piccolo's defensive presence that wins the Louisville free kick.
Referee having to listen to all sorts of arguments from both sides. Must be tiring being a referee. Enzo Martinez is a little bit too handy there on Piccolo, just slowing him down. Piccolo quite cleverly goes to ground, wins the free kick. That should be the end of it, and what follows is a couple of minutes debate with the referee. That's how it is this night. I just pick up an extra sense of tension on both sides. Obviously, it's a battle for the conference final. And the referee's going to have a big say in what happens here tonight.
It's a 5th third free kick. Lancaster can go from any distance inside midfield, as we've come to find. Pack is certainly shading in a way where he's prepared for it. And a variety of options in black and gray atop the box. It's McCabe. That's simple in the end. Gonzalez trying to get over Johnson. This will belong to Charlotte. No Alexi Sawahi notably tonight, who can be such a target on set pieces. First call up for his national team, exciting.
Yeah, for Comores, a little island on the east coast of Africa, just near Madagascar.
You've called, I believe, AFCON in the past.
Yes.
You can speak to the level that's played there, playing against Sierra Leone.
Yeah, look, there's some very good African teams. You get drawn against the likes of a Nigeria and Egypt and those sort of teams, you'll know about it. But with Josh Winder injured, it does leave them, as you watch that ball come in, it does leave them a little bit vulnerable, as you pointed out, at centre-back, should either of their current centre-backs get injured, Sean Tosh or Wes Sharpie.
It is a little bit threadbare defensively for Louisville right now. Throw coming for Gomez. Is this the end of his time in Louisville, Kentucky? Arrived ahead of the pandemic. They thought maybe the Open Cup would be a good chance for him to get in the game in 2020. The pandemic has obviously changed his growth and in some ways perhaps supercharged it with more league minutes perhaps than initially anticipated. Off to La Liga at the conclusion of this season in the upcoming winter window.
And wish him good luck. He's such a talent. Gets down that left side so well with pace. He's got good skill. He can run quickly with the ball at feet, so it's going to suit the Spanish La Liga system. Of course, it's up a big jump from where he is now, with all due respect to the USL. But he'll learn, and he's got years on his side to pick up all the knowledge that he needs.
Good slide from Jimenez, but it left work to be done. Half an hour gone. Anything truly surprise you at this stage?
No, I think it is. As you said, it's just back and forth, both teams threatening. Brian Ownby being the biggest threat going forward for Lou City. And I think the Miami game was good for Lou City, and this is something that Danny Cruz mentioned, that they came at them, Miami put them under pressure, they had to defend a bit, and they're doing something fairly similar right now against Charlotte.
Brilliant from Marveau. Johnson. You got the feeling in speaking with both these coaches that they've been watching each other's matches, didn't really know how the Atlantic or the Central, truthfully, would work out in the latter stages of the regular season. There isn't necessarily a parallel for Charlotte in the Central, for Louisville in the Atlantic. If anything, Mike Jeffries said, we know Louisville as Louisville. Their system, their style. There's really no one in the Atlantic that plays quite like that.
No, there isn't, but they did have a look at Louisville against New Mexico, because New Mexico switched to a back three and they got some sense of how they could play. They also obviously focused on Miami, because they felt Miami came at them very similar to the way Charlotte are. So from Mike Jeffries, he felt the way they played, Lou City played against Miami would give him a few clues. And the other game he had a look at, which surprised me, was Sporting Kansas City, who scored 3 goals against Lou City. And he said they kept possession very well in Lou City's half, and they picked up a few little ideas from that too.
Well, this is massive news. Gabriel Oberton has gone off to the sideline here. A stoppage 32 minutes in, and he's stretching that left leg out as he sits on the bench. We'll see whether or not he needs to come out. 58 appearances at Newcastle. Before that, 2-year stint at Manchester United, a bit of time at Wigan. Ultimately signed in August, the Parisian.
I'm just wondering who they might replace him with should he have to come off.
Ownby, excellent ball. Lancaster cuts back. His head lifted off the turf as if divine intervention would swing that inside the post. But as soon as it had rolled wide, his head smashed back down.
Just have a look at Christian Fuchs lay his body on the line here. Ownby once again crucial. Watch Fuchs stretch there. He almost blocks any chance the ball is going to get on target. Clever defending. And Cam Lancaster equally cleverly tries to stick it in the far corner. Maybe the only gap available to him. Doesn't miss by much. And they'll know. And in fact, Mike Jeffries talked about how good and how dangerous Lancaster is. Well, there's further proof for you.
And we've got quite the change coming. You can see an assistant coach going through the last bit of photos with Irvin Parra. We haven't seen Irvin Parra and Dane Kelly on the field together all that often, all things considered. Kelly catching McCabe. Kelly's going to be going into the book. Vivify yellow card in the 34th. The USL's all-time goal king.
Let's have a look at it and see. His arm is up. Difficult to jump without your arms being up. The question is, was it deliberately put in the opposition's face? I'm not so sure, but it's not my opinion that counts, it's the referees. So it's now 3 players on yellow, and 3 having to be extremely careful.
Substitution is brought to you by MHS Global. Oberton's night is over after 34 minutes, and it's Irvin Parra who's come on in his stead. Parra, who himself once upon a time had a double-double season of goals and assists.
He did, sorry, that was just about to say, I wonder if they'll change to 4-4-2 and have Parra and Kelly up on their own, and then just allow Marvo to come a little bit deeper behind them, because they're both 2 great foraging strikers. And in fact, if anything, the last time Parra came on in the last match against Memphis, he was a bit deeper. It was Dane Kelly who was almost up on his own. So it'll be a little bit of a change in system. Maybe Parra just replaces Oberton on the left-hand side. Maybe they stick to 2 up front and then have 4 in the middle.
You see the news in the upper right corner of your screen. Copa Tejas kicks off 9 Eastern. Orange County, Oakland will kick off an hour later. Halftime has concluded in St. Petersburg. And so it's scoreless between Tampa Bay and the Central Division runner-up Birmingham. Tampa Bay was always slated to host the final should they reach that point. Such is the case now still, especially with both #1 seeds in the West being slain in the opening round.
That was a real shock. El Paso and Phoenix Rising are both such incredible outfits. But interesting, both of those teams qualified weeks before the playoffs, and you just wonder if you lose your edge when that happens.
Neil Collins does not allow anyone to lose their edge, as we've come to find out. Parra, Marvo, Johnson, 2 goal hounds running in the box. Johnson up, Kelly! He leapt up for that dramatically, somewhat gymnastically, off the mark.
And he almost got, I mean, he got a bit of a touch to it. Didn't quite work out, but obviously felt the ball was slightly behind him. Oh, it takes a deflection, that's why. He gets a bit of a bump in his back as well, which is clever defending, puts him totally off balance.
Well, the crowd continues to hoot and holler. Now it's Armin who's having an elongated chat with the referee, who's got over 5 years experience in the pro game. Ahead of the curve, relief around the corner, serving Louisville, Central Kentucky, and Southern Indiana. Advanced ENT and allergy.
I think you're right about the referee, Mr. Araguin. He's done well so far. He's had a little bit of a chat with the guys, but then he cuts it off. You know, they can have a quick comment, and then it's okay. Moving on, decision made, and I think that's good refereeing. There's that little battle again. Ombi Fuchs.
Ombi with speed. Ombi around the corner. Ball's gone out. This is a corner.
They're saying it's a goal kick, but there was a little nibble at Ombi's heels there, I think, by Fuchs. If Ombi had gone down, would have been a difficult call for the referee. Fuchs arguing that it was most certainly a goal kick. Let's have a look. But have a look, he gets beaten. Ombi, so quick. What's the pace? Gets around Fuchs. And Fuchs, as he goes in the box, is a little nibble. No, he goes to have a nibble and just pulls out in time.
Well, I guess the question for Christian Fuchs, if I didn't foul him and I didn't touch the ball, then
yes. How can it be a corner?
Alas, a Vivify corner to come here, 39th minute. Jimenez gestures. He wants Johnson a little bit further away. There is a line on the field, of course, to try and delineate. This is off the training ground, and it's familiar. McCabe, header steered back. Not a bad idea either. Sean Tosh doesn't score a world-beating number of goals, but he has scored some big ones.
Good test for Hugh Roberts and company there. That was a nice use. So nicely taken corner, something different, something planned. They knew exactly what they were doing, Lou City. Decent effort.
Well, to Danny Cruz's credit, you and I asked him, what if Charlotte's able to do what they did to so many teams for the last 2 months? This will fall at the penalty spot. Gonzalez is denied, blocked by Riascos, who's had a very quiet start, as if to say almost inauspicious. And now Johnson's gone down.
All those Charlotte Independence fans who after the first 15 minutes thought this would be easy, it's been Lou City's next 15 minutes. Little ball knocked up here. He comes in. Gonzalez catches that on the half volley, which is a difficult skill, I should say, and hits Riascos on the back. That is ever so close. If Riascos is not there, then it's up to Austin Pack to make a tricky save. So chances at both ends.
Arman, and there's Omby defensively. I think as a neutral, you saw this matchup coming, and I think you put it well at the outset. The form of Charlotte, certainly the talent they've brought in, sort of the history and legacy that Louisville's put together the last half-decade plus. And it feels like we've gotten it all so far.
Yeah, it's well balanced. It's hard to pick between them. The two fantastic teams. Let's see what happens from this set piece for Charlotte.
Martinez. That's a high boot. Fuchs and Sharpie have made peace.
I mean, it is possible that this match, as with the Miami game, is settled just by one goal. One moment of magic, one mistake, one problem. Fans are there giving it their support.
You're going to grow your hair out like that over the off season?
If I could grow my hair that long, I would.
Understood. Gary's looking at me, I'm looking at Gary. Who would have thunk? Not me.
Yeah. Both somewhat challenged in the hair department.
More challenged.
Yeah, more me than you.
Oh, give me time. Give me time. 200 more Louisville games down the road, it'll all be gone.
Well, 100 already is extremely impressive. But just on that sort of point about the one goal, as with Miami, it could just be an error.
Pack got there in time. Pack actually being helped up by Del Piccolo, which may be perhaps a bit of community service, knowing he's already on a yellow card.
Yes, very wise thing for Del Piccolo to do. Absolutely. Testing ball, though, just behind the back three of Charlotte. Keeper does well to come up. He's waiting for that ball to cross the line, and it's taking its time. But again, just to finish that point, if it's one goal, and often happens in cup games that it can be like that. It's a moment of magic or an error or something that separates the two teams. That's the tension and the excitement of this match.
You know, what's forgotten about Paulo Del Piccolo, given he's been at Louisville City, captained the side, Louisville Cardinal in college, drafted by Montreal. The 1 year he spent in Charlotte in 2015 at the outset of that franchise. And Del Piccolo, pointed out by Mike Jeffries, the Independence head coach in the lead up to this game, hasn't been afraid to get forward, both in possession and in that case out of possession. That first ball clipped ahead by Gomez. This is far and away his best goal scoring season, the championship final MVP of 2017. Ball hangs back. Good work by Roberts, but this is going to be sliced out to Omby, who kept it in. Danny Cruz wants to give that ball to somebody. He just can't find anyone to give it to. Para, who came on for the injured Gabriel Oberton.
What is that?
Well, so Para, after having his shirt dragged nearly off his body by McCabe, throws his arm out and appeared to catch McCabe in the back of the head. This may be an instance of two wrongs not making a right. McCabe's gone into the book for the initial tug.
Tug, hang on his back. And he gave him a tug, and then it was more, and it was, in England it says more like a rugby tackle if you got him that. Look how long he's got him for. Then Parra, of course, reacts afterwards. Now, to some level, you can't blame him for reacting, but he might well have, he might well get a yellow card for swinging out a little bit with the hand.
He was indeed shown a yellow. Both vivify yellow cards. Just short of halftime. This will be put in play by Enzo Martinez. Header steered down and knocked wide. The offside flag was up regardless.
Wow, Hugh Roberts nearly saw his name in lights there. Thought he was going to score, just missed it, and it wouldn't have counted anyway. Have a look at it here, the header coming in. I didn't quite see where the foul was, but nonetheless, Hugh Roberts doesn't get there in time anyway. Have a look. Both holding on to each other.
The referee shot his arm straight up there as if to indicate that that header put player in an offside position. Tosh running out of real estate. Stoppage time is brought to you by Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. 3 added minutes in this first half in this Eastern Conference semifinal.
Players once again all remonstrating at the referee, and we've had 5 yellows in this first half. It just shows you that it's been a bit chippy, it's been a bit physical, and I've no doubt it's going to get more so in the second half as we reach towards the end of the game.
Fuchs. Well, Karam's away. It's lofted to the halfway line and beyond. Fuchs playing the wrong sport. That's not a bad arm.
It's a good throw, very good throw. Just got a little bit too close to the keeper that time.
Sharpie upfield, taken on by Bronico, and now Marveau. Lost by arm, and he hit that all wrong. He knew it off his foot. McCabe. Del Piccolo. Well done by Corbin Bone. It's easy for Riascos. And now Del Piccolo's an undercut. And he's played it rather quickly. Gonzalez pumps the brakes on Johnson. Gonzalez with a deflection. Ombi's going to chase. Ombi's going to win that race. But he ran out of room. Let's give you an update elsewhere in St. Petersburg. We mentioned Paulo Del Piccolo is a former Charlotte player. Same can be said of Jan Ekra. Ekra leading the charge for the Rowdies, playing in the corresponding conference semifinal. And in the 57th minute, Ekra delivers. Van Oekel beaten, Rowdies 1, Birmingham 0.
Good finish, good strike, good celebration from the Rowdies.
If the Rowdies see that out, winner of this game will go to St. Pete. Game next Saturday night. Ball bouncing a bit perilously from Del Piccolo.
I guess the one thing the winning team will say is at least they get away from the cold for one game.
Whether you went to Birmingham, Alabama, or you went to St. Petersburg, Florida, I guarantee it was going to be warmer than tonight in Louisville, Kentucky. Rumor has it it's snowing in Chicago.
Wow. So tight this first half as it sort of wraps up. Not much to choose between these two. I just love this battle between Ombi and Christian Fuchs on this side. It's been a real fantastic first half battle.
What a battle indeed. Scoreless at halftime. Fuchs and Omby, it's been the war of attrition we anticipated. And still square at this stage, Gary.
Yeah, set up for a fantastic second half. So difficult to pick between the two. And as I said, I think it's going to be one moment of magic or one bad error that's going to separate these teams at the end of the 90 minutes, or maybe even the end of 120 minutes.
True enough. And it is a scarf, jacket, maybe even blanket night here in Louisville, Kentucky. The light show began, and then the real show took center stage. The Serve Pro halftime, news and notes from around the league. A new opponent from not too far up the road joining the league. Highlights and more when we return after these messages.
Hey, we're back.
And ready to hit the road again in this new RAV4.
This is one of the most versatile vehicles on or off the road.
No wonder it's the #1 selling SUV.
You got all kinds of room back here.
Connectivity for all your devices, and it comes in a hybrid that gets 40 mpg.
Now, during Toyota's fall savings, get 1.9 financing for 72 months on a new RAV4 or RAV4 hybrid with 2 years no-cost maintenance included.
It's pretty easy to see why RAV4 is #1.
Toyota, let's go places.
There's never been a better time to sell your car, and Oxmoor Toyota will pay top dollar. Eliminate the hassles of advertising and strangers at your door. We'll buy your car even if you don't buy from us. Come to the Oxmoor Toyota Buying Center or go online and get a guaranteed price for your car and shop over 600 pre-owned vehicles. We make it safe and simple at Oxmoor Toyota on Shelbyville Road and oxmoortoyota.com.
Corrales Rotisserie Chicken make your next family meal. Corrales Chicken is never frozen and always delicious. Need holiday catering? Think Corrales. Schedule catering for your private or business holiday event. Visit Corrales Rotisserie Chicken today.
You're scared that Prince Shaw or your family are gonna fall apart without you. You don't always have to be the hero, Spencer.
You were gonna leave LA sooner or later. You sure you're ready for this?
Something about the dream scares me.
I got nothing left.
Maybe people like us weren't supposed to have it all. And at some point, I gotta take the leap and find out, right?
All American. New episode this Monday at 8/7 Central, only on the CW.
Right, just a confirmation then of what we said a little bit earlier on, Mike. 12 players have appeared in 100-plus games for Louisville. There are all those players. And you, my friend, are calling your 100th Lou City match today. Congrats.
Aha. Yeah, this isn't in the rundown, believe it or not.
No, well, we're not going to tell you it's coming up. Mr.
No.
100. Looking smooth with jacket and tie as well.
Yeah, once in a while. This is a rare feat. And thank you to the fans. And they got the ears just right. They're too big for the headset. So things don't change, eh?
Isn't that nice of the fans to have got that poster up for you? So
yes.
Congrats again.
Very much appreciate that to the Coopers and all the fans. That's very cool. Now let's take a look at the highlights elsewhere. Tampa Bay, Birmingham. We start early in this one, and the Rowdies trying to really take care of business. The Atlantic Division champion, Jan Akra, is denied by Van Oekel. Wouldn't be the last time we saw him on the mark.
Yeah, it's a good save from the goalkeeper there. Just gets a hand to it, just pushes it wide of that post, and you always know you're going to be under pressure from the Rowdies. They're such a good team, especially at home.
And then Akra, 57th minute, widens things out, and he'd be left alone enough to beat Van Oekel. That's the only marker so far. That game's in the 65th.
So look, as he touches it, the defender coming in, he's got to win that ball. You can't just stand off and let him shoot. He doesn't control it properly the first time. Poor defending.
Let's remind you what's coming up later tonight. Copa Tejas, San Antonio, RGV, 9 p.m. Eastern. RGV quite the upset last week.
Oh, fantastic. What a game, what a performance, some cracking goals. But San Antonio, they're a good side, and until they get some great crosses into the ball. How about this goal? Have a look at this run. That's through the entire Phoenix Rising defense, back of the net.
That's Jai, and that would seal it. Elvis Amo would end it. And RGV knocks off Phoenix. They'll take on a very powerful San Antonio side. Meanwhile, Orange County, Oakland Roots being played in SoCal.
Oakland Roots, the Hollywood story of the year, bottom of the table at the halfway point of the season, and now they're in the playoffs away at Orange County. Mind you, this is a good Orange County side. Damas is just different class. And I just don't think Oakland will be able to stop this man from scoring. And if they do stop him, you've got Sean Nicoli who can stick them in the back of the net.
Yeah, that's as terrifying as thought as you'll find. Josh Eastern and Ricky Lopez-Espin will have the call that one. The USL Championship Final. Mike Watts, Devin Kerr, and a sideline analyst to be named later will join us November 28th, ESPN Deportes, Sirius XM FC will air coverage as well, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Should be hard to find. We'll see who's in it. We still have plenty of time. We just know it'll be played in the Eastern or Central time zone. Speaking of the Eastern time zone, Lynn Family Stadium, big CBS NWSL Championship game is just a weekend away. Tickets are still available for this one, and some really top-quality players remain.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful teams. I had the privilege of doing the Chicago Gotham match last week, and Chicago Red Stars, fantastic. Mallory Pugh getting the only goal rather of that match. Washington Spirit won their game. They traveled to OL Reign, while Chicago take on Portland. Great players both sides, superstars in fact. OL Reign, a stacked side, but well worth watching, all these teams.
Could see Hatch or Pino or Sink or Pugh. Serve Pro halftime continues after this.
Today, as you step onto the field, you step into your purpose. You step strong. You step hard. Con toda la fuerza de mujer. You step up.
This hit on the line! Oh, and put it in! A magnificent strike! You go down, you come back, and you find a way.
Goes topics. I mean, yeah, let's talk about today where I'm going to go topics.
Roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to Sirius XM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What? What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on Sirius XM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?
I am a first-generation student here at Bellevue University. I feel like if I were to have gone to a different university, my experience would have been a lot more stressful and overwhelming, because I feel like I wouldn't have gotten that personal experience that Bellevue University has to offer.
Feel when I take it. How you gon' feel when I take it? We about action. We about action. Tell me how you gon' feel.
This hit on the line! Oh, and put it in! A magnificent strike! You go down, you come back, and you find a way.
Tell me how you gon' feel.
Hey, what's up? I'm Ethan.
And I'm Danielle, and we're back on the road in the aggressively styled, incredibly comfortable Toyota Highlander.
With your choice of a powerful V6
or best-in-class hybrid engine.
The Toyota Highlander can handle anything that comes your way.
And it holds its value better than anything in its class.
During Toyota's fall savings, get $500 TFS APR cash on any new 22 Highlander or Highlander hybrid, plus 2 years no-cost maintenance.
It's pretty easy to see why.
Highlander is #1. Toyota, let's go places.
Welcome back to the USL Championship Playoffs presented by Twin Spires. Mike Watts joined by Gary Bailey, Louisville and Charlotte at halftime on ESPN+. Let's take a look at news and notes from around the league. Welcome to the big leagues, Detroit City. So glad to have you aboard. A really passionate fan base, and there's always room in the family.
Absolutely. Very, very welcome. And I believe sort of exciting social media comments from all sides. So looking forward to next season.
The player of the month was Kyle Murphy. He was able to bag a goal against Charlotte last week. Memphis, however, fell 3-1 after that 5-goal October. And then the USL Championship Final is presented by Twin Spires. 2021 champion crown. November 28th, 8:30 Eastern. You'll see it live on ESPN. This is the road to the final presented by Twin Spires. All 4 games here tonight in the conference semifinals. Tampa Bay, Birmingham ongoing right now. The Western Conference is a little all over the place, isn't it?
Wow, where's Phoenix Rising? Where's El Paso? Top of their table. Yeah, it's some real surprises. RGV, what a result to win at Wild Horse Pass against Phoenix Rising. Oakland Roots, the same for them at El Paso. I mean, 2 incredible results. But will their journey end tonight? I would suspect so. I don't see RGV pulling it off against San Antonio. And Oakland Roots, I'd love you to write the Hollywood script, but I don't think you're going to do it against Orange County.
Well, those matches air ESPN Plus later tonight. We can tell you, head to Indiana to bet with Twin Spires Sportsbook, presenting sponsor of the 2021 USL Championship playoffs. Use code LOU250 and place a $5 opening wager on any sport to unlock a $250 free bet. All right, we've got the second half right around the bend. We'll show you the highlights from the first half and kick this one off when we return.
Flying from Louisville has never been easier or cheaper. Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport has more low-fare flights and non-stop destinations than ever, including new low-cost flights to Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and 5 Florida cities on Spirit Airlines, and new flights to New Orleans, Charleston, and Tampa on Breeze Airways. You can now fly non-stop from Louisville to over 35 destinations nationwide, like Los Angeles, Fort Lauderdale, Austin, and Fort Myers. Learn more at flylouisville.com.
Hey, what's up? I'm Ethan.
And I'm Danielle. Did you know Toyota has more all-wheel drive vehicles than anyone else?
15 to be exact, including the legendary Off-Road King 4Runner.
The rugged Tacoma, the #1 selling truck in its class.
This Ben's a hybrid that gets 40 mpg.
Or the best-selling Camry, made even better with all-wheel drive.
During Toyota's fall savings, get $500 TFS APR cash on new 22 Camrys.
Or 1.9 financing on remaining new 21 Benzas.
When you run the numbers,
Toyota is #1.
Toyota, let's go places. Hey, what's up? I'm Ethan.
And I'm Danielle, and we're back on the road in the aggressively styled, incredibly comfortable Toyota Highlander.
With your choice of a powerful V6
or best-in-class hybrid engine.
The Toyota Highlander can handle anything that comes your way.
And it holds its value better than anything in its class.
During Toyota's fall savings, get $500 TFS APR cash on any new 22 Highlander or Highlander hybrid, plus 2 years no-cost maintenance.
It's pretty easy to see why.
Highlander is #1.
Toyota, let's go places.
Welcome back to halftime, brought to you by Serve Pro. You a Ted Lasso fan?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely. I think it's wonderful. Brilliant.
Would you allow yourself to be coached by Jason Sudeikis?
Not coach, no, but I'm quite happy to join him in a TV studio where he is a superstar.
Yeah, what belief is that? All right, let's take a look at the highlights from this first half where Jason Sudeikis will not feature. We begin in the 8th minute of play here between Louisville and Charlotte. Charlotte had the best of the first 10 or 15 minutes.
Absolutely. I think they did. They were on the front foot. Marveau here knocks it wide to Joel and puts it into the box. Couldn't see if Dan Kelly got a shove or not, but that was the sort of threat early on coming from Charlotte. Then Brian Omby, we thought he'd be a threat, comes wide. I'm just thinking, Del Piccolo, you're trying a little chip. Give it a thump and see. Maybe it gets a deflection on the way, but Brian Omby, brilliant first half. Gave Christian Fuchs a really tough time. And it did ebb and flow in this match. Lou City again. Ball's going to come wide. Lovely ball here from Omby to Lancaster. And just puts it wide of that far post. You could see what he was trying to do. But I think Fuchs lying down on the ground here just made it a bit more difficult for him to find target.
Pack scrambling. That gets wide. And here are the halftime stats brought to you by C&L Heating and Air. 6 shots to 2. It's been tight, all things considered, for a match that's swung so violently.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Lou City have had that many more shots than Charlotte, because I thought they did dominate the first 15, 20 minutes, Charlotte Independence. But the only thing that's important is shots on target. Shots that don't hit target aren't going to do much damage. And in that, they're both even.
All right, second half's underway. Here we go. Charlotte, Louisville, 45 minutes to see, as of now, who would go to St. Pete to take on the Rowdies should Birmingham be unable to come back. Offside flag raised early in this one. Eastern Conference semifinal. Charlotte has never won in Louisville. 4 losses, 2 draws in their history, but they haven't met since this stadium opened in 2020. Louisville won the Central Division on the last day, and ultimately the 3 points they garnered then are critical to them hosting tonight, although theoretically, as the 2 seed, they'd be in Birmingham's position altogether, be in Tampa Bay in this round. Alas, Louisville knocking off Birmingham on the season's last day. For Charlotte, hottest team in the league, and seemingly not by a small margin either. This will ricochet on the service from Dane Kelly. 1 change in the first half. Overton off due to injury. Irvin Parra on. The sides are unchanged at the halftime break. Johnson, ball on a string. In goes Gonzalez. Throw, Charlotte.
You mentioned Irvin Parra. We saw him sort of fill that role of Overton's for a while, but they have also at times also played 4-4-2, so they're mixing it up front. There's 2 great strikers at Lou City. Have to keep their eye on both in double figures, Dan Kelly and Irvin Parra.
11 goals apiece. Marveau rolls calmly. There's Parra. Marveau sets up Martinez. Thought about a blast. Instead, out to Johnson. Cuts quickly all the way through. Dummied by both sides. Jimenez and Arman. Arman zigzagging over the ball. This portion of tonight's game brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Crossfield, Joel Johnson. With a deflection, appeal for a handball. Still it continues. Good start for Charlotte in this second half. Riascos. Gonzalez. Gomez. Parra. Parra steps over, cuts back. Gomez trudging through. Referee gave that thoughtful consideration.
Yeah, not enough there, is there? Gomez and Parra just having a bit of a pushy match. Gomez wins it. Parra looks at the referee in the hope, the forlorn hope that he might get a penalty, but definitely on the front foot yet again, as they were in the beginning of the first half. Charlotte.
Riascos get by Gonzalez. Maybe the switch is on here. Martinez. Charlotte locked into this side still. Johnson. That's simple for Hubbard.
Wasn't a good cross. You need to bend it away from the keeper instead of bend towards him with height on it. We're just talking about Charlotte's form. If you just look at their away form only, it's 4-2-2. So, you know, they are a little bit more vulnerable on the road. No question about that. But they've just got stronger and stronger, haven't they, towards the end of the season. It makes you feel that they can raise their game when they need to. If ever they're going to raise it, this is the day they need to do that.
Martinez. Ball headed through. Appeal indeed offside for Marveau.
Well, only by at least a yard. I don't think Marveau's got the pace to live on that back line. He needs to leave that to the likes of a Dane Kelly, who has got real pace.
Gomez. Gonzalez. Riascos joining the pressure much higher up the field than we saw in the first half.
Maybe that's a change that Mike Jeffries has suggested to increase the pressure and not allow Lou City any time on the ball. guess the more you keep the ball away from Cam Lancaster, the better chance you have of winning the game. And that's pretty much what they did to Carl Murphy last week against Memphis. Carl Murphy only had 1 touch. Yes, he did score, but that was when the score was already 3-0. Other than that, he was starved of any chances against Charlotte.
Sharpie, well, he was dragged down by Kelly. And this is a site Louisville simply can't afford. Sharpie is down. He's dealt with injuries in recent weeks. And by the look on his face, there's a little bit more to this. Louisville is without a reserve center back, something that had Danny Cruz very concerned. He's yelling for Pat McMahon down the line. That's one of their options at center back with Alexi Sawahi on international duty. The injury of Josh Winder in training this week.
This was a nightmare that Danny Cruz was hoping would not happen. Where Sharpie stretches there. There's a bit of contact on his shin, but immediately he turns and grabs his left leg, and you could see him hitting the ground, which is always a sign that a player is super frustrated with the injury and feels that maybe it's going to take him off the pitch. And that is a problem for Danny Cruz. And it's an opportunity for Charlotte. If they have to make this change at the back, you would think that they would target that straight away and get the likes of a Dan Kelly with his pace onto Pat McMahon. This is where these cup matches can be so frustrating. It just takes, you know, as I mentioned earlier, a second yellow card and you lose a player or an injury to the one area that Lou City couldn't afford to get an injury. Was it centre back? Is he going to stay on and brave it? Looks like he's going to stay on. Just going off the field just because he's had treatment, but
put that jacket back on, Pat.
Just for the time being, though, got to keep an eye on Sharpie because he's a brave player and he might be playing through the injury, and if it doesn't get better, then it's in the whole team's interest that he comes off.
Okay, floating. Sharpie has returned to the game. We'll keep an eye on him from here. Pat McMahon largely saw his biggest run of games this year come due to the injury to Oscar Jimenez. Lasted several months. The 35-year-old filled in ably there, but at this stage can play more or less anywhere as needed on that back line.
It looks fine there with Sharpie bombing down, you know, the left-hand side there. Don't see any injury issues. It'll be a relief to all the Lou City fans.
See Gomez there, who was with the Mexican under-20s earlier this month. Meanwhile, Mexico just an hour up the road under Tata Martino's tutelage, falling, shall we say, 2-0 in Cincinnati last night, World Cup qualifying. Ball rolled ahead, Brant Bronico. Bronico. Armin. He's won a throw.
Fantastic result for the US men's national team against Mexico. Absolutely brilliant. Really powerful team now. A lot of players playing at a top level in Europe, and possibly the best US men's national team that was seen for a long time.
There's Gomez. He's rostered with both the U.S. and Mexico in their preliminary summer tournaments. The Nations League final and the Gold Cup. Paulo Del Piccolo having a series of short but impactful words.
It's heated and it's pressurized, and these players know that there's, as we said earlier, that it could be just one thing that swings this match. So they're all looking for that little edge, that little advantage, get somebody booked and get a half chance. And I guess it's going to get even tougher and tighter and chippier as the match goes on.
Bronico stepping away after catching Lancaster, who's had a very quiet night. Mike Jeffries Throws his hands back in his pockets after shouting out onto the field.
Well, Mike Jeffries, in fact, telling us that Cam Lancaster was a big concern for him as we see the tackles coming in. That was a ball that Riascos had every right to try and clear, and Cam Lancaster put a foot out and got kicked. But he was saying to us, Mike Jeffries, that he was concerned about Cam Lancaster simply because he can score from anywhere. Left foot, right foot header, and often from outside the box. And that's why you can't really leave him alone.
And all due respect, Kyle Murphy scored 20 goals in the regular season as well. The way he scores and the way Cameron Lancaster scores, pretty significantly different.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Murphy more in the box. Lancaster, he can beat you from 25 yards. I think we saw about 3-4 games ago, we scored from 40 yards. Incredible strike.
Jimenez, Tosh, Riascos, Gonzalez. In goes Kelly. Back to Gomez. Beats Para. Del Piccolo stayed on side. Pack.
Just remember now, Cam Lancaster got that goal from 40 yards against Memphis. It was Cody Cropper who misjudged the shot. So he's a threat from almost anywhere on the pitch, Cam Lancaster.
He scored an Olympico against Tulsa earlier this year. Direct from the corner. Can Ombi get in behind? He has. Lancaster. Good slide in at the vital moment. Still Bone. Forced off the ball. And now Martinez went down. Ombi rolling. Allowed to Del Piccolo. There's Pack. What a familiar scene that's been this year. Lancaster taking all the attention. Del Piccolo nearly taking all the glory.
And Ombi with the setup. Riascos covering Fuchs very well. Fuchs beaten by Ombi. And it comes back in. Del Piccolo got the right idea, just didn't get any power on it. But again, Ombi, he went back and won that ball. He puts a great cross in. Then he goes back and wins it. And then he puts a second cross in. Fantastic play down the right-hand side from Ombi. And we thought Christian Fuchs was going to be tested, and he certainly has been by Ombi. That's the biggest threat for Charlotte, and that's why Hugh Roberts and even Kevin Riascos, as we saw, they have to cover Christian Fuchs whenever Ombi gets him one-on-one.
What a fascinating back line Charlotte has put together. You'd argue Tampa Bay with their fearsome threesome in the back. Scarlett, Guillen, and Forrest Lasso. Be an intriguing match to say the least. Should Charlotte continue on? Should Tampa Bay finish off their business against Birmingham? That game is approaching the 90th minute now. Back heel, Para. Slides across, room to get a shot away. That's lofted into the Estopanel end.
That's a poor shot. That had all been set up. Irvin Para laid it up. There was time. You've got to be able to hit target from that position. But look, Para's got his head up, laid it. You've got time coming in there. Is that Jake Arman? Just totally gets that wrong completely. Almost sort of side foots it instead of striking through the ball and testing the keeper. Chris Hubbard. Not going to get many chances in this match. You can't afford to waste them.
Some of the whistles have been a little more ticky-tack as we've gone along. Referee trying to maintain pole position at this stage. Arman. Hubbard. That's a foul. Quickly restarted by Hugh Roberts, who's among the more decorated defenders in modern history of this league.
It's interesting about this stage in the match between Lou City and Miami. It was Lou City who began to control the game. It's not happening here. Charlotte are actually in control. It's a different scenario to the Miami match for Lou City.
Ball rolled wide. Charlotte enters the penalty area. Corner, Independence.
Bigger pressure this time around. As mentioned, Miami FC weren't able to keep their pressure going. Charlotte have. Lou City on the back foot here at home. That's going to be a concern for their fans.
It's not nearly the concern comes with potential frostbite, but still nonetheless. Martinez curls. Get another bite of the apple. Mentioned last time Charlotte beat Louisville 2017. Enzo Martinez, who scored the hat trick, undid Lou City. Riasco stands in front of Ownby. The service to the backside, caught by Hubbard.
Good hands by Hubbard, nice and clean, plucks up one out there, as you would expect him to do, but you never know with goalkeepers. If they misjudge something, well, he certainly didn't. Just calmed everything down. Lou City been under a little bit of pressure, and they need to get back on that front foot, use this wonderful crowd, give them something to cheer about and get that vibe. In fact, Daniel Cruz was saying to us how important he felt the home crowd was. Obviously, it's a bitter cold night, but I guess it's still a packed crowd, and he wanted to use that to his team's advantage. Well, they have to get on the front foot to get the crowd excited, especially on a cold night.
This portion of tonight's game is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. You and I were looking at each other about 10 minutes before kickoff going, where is everybody? And the answer is probably in their Camry, trying to stay warm.
Yeah, the stadium was empty. I just couldn't figure it out until you explained it. In England, if it's freezing, we'll still go and sit outside and sing songs and keep warm and get a cup of Bovril, if you know what Bovril is. It's the most horrible drink. Sold at the stadiums in England.
Cold nights is when the hot chocolate comes out here. They don't really go with the what is it?
Bovril, yes. Like, I can't even describe the drink. It's just horrible.
Pack. Gonzalez. Bone allows it back. Del Piccolo rolls. Ownby. Del Piccolo.
It's clever thinking by Ownby. Del Piccolo passed him the ball and sort of switched off. He thought he had done his job. And Ownby knocked it back to him. And when it came to him, he was a little bit surprised. It's a lovely play from Lou City around the fringes here. Gonzalez to Bone. Del Piccolo. And look, he plays the ball and then he looks away and he's sort of not expecting it to come back. When it does, he's not properly set and just has a wild swing at it. Doesn't trouble Austin Pack at all.
Del Piccolo, one of those players who's etched his name indelibly into this franchise. Where's the captain's armband now? He's hoisted the trophy twice. He's the captain of this team. Names like Spencer and Lancaster, Rasmussen and Tosh, Craig, Ranjit Singh. Fondy, Hoffman, an endless list of players who've most often shown brightest come the playoffs. Who could it be tonight? A nearly sterling, sparkling record at home. Lancaster, Bone rolls back away from the line. Pack squatted down over the goal line and helps to push it away. And the run is on for Charlotte the other direction.
Exciting moment for Lou City, very close. I haven't seen Austin Pack make many saves. That was an important one.
Para, Marveau, denied. Tosh, Kelly. There's tension in the air. You can feel it. Martinez off target.
Oh, chances at both end. Real excitement. The match coming to life. Have a look at this opportunity here. Corbin Bone's going to make a... Well, it's Cam Lancaster flicks it up for Bone here. He gets to the byline, pulls it back. There's a shot coming in from Jorge Gonzalez, and Austin Pack makes the save, and an absolutely crucial save. And then the other end, Marveau, as you said, blocked by Sean Tosh. Wow. Both sets of fans given a really exciting moment and given a heart attack moment.
Well, no matter which team you're rooting for, your heart rate is elevated. Para overtaken by McCabe. Free kick, Charlotte.
Clever from Irvin Para there. Didn't have many options, felt the bump, went down, won himself and his team a free kick. Now they've got options to have a go at goal or try and bend one in for a header.
Enzo Martinez has scored some of the Charlotte Independents' all-time great goals. And should time be running short, what does he have? It'll be Arman right at Hubbard.
Nothing in that at all. It's far too easy for the keeper. Straight at him.
An update from elsewhere. It has gone final in St. Petersburg. Jan Ekra, the goal scorer. The Tampa Bay Rowdies will host the Eastern Conference Final next weekend in the USL Championship playoffs presented by Twin Spires. Rowdies will get the winner of this game, and surely it's going to be a packed house. The Rowdies, the Atlantic's #1 seed, are in line to host the USL Championship final, but then whichever team wins the East will carry that opportunity.
Concern here for Ombi. Went down and in a lot of pain, and they've rushed on to try and help him. And if they lose Ombi, that is a massive loss for Lou City. He has been brilliant in this game.
Well, there are changes coming for Louisville. And as of now, neither card has Ombi's number on it. They're working that left foot and ankle to the agony of Ombi. There's Antoine Hopino. His number will be called shortly.
These substitutions are always crucial, especially in matches like this that are this tight. And in playoffs where you can't afford a mistake, players coming on like Hopino, who scored a whole bunch of goals and really has been a crucial player, both as a starter and off the bench. 4 goals and 4 assists this season. Sort of player who can impact the game positively. So if you're a Lou City fan, he could be your man.
Let's try and get a better look at what happened here for Brian Ombi.
Oh, yeah. You can see Christian Fuse come down on his ankle. And when you're coming down with all that weight, that's going to be painful. Oh, doesn't. He's struggling to walk here. Now, again, it's one of those, if it's one of those you can run off and the pain will subside over time, or is it something where it's a little bit more structural and things get worse over time? Only he and the medical staff will know, but he's not moving that freely at the moment.
Better or worse to suffer that kind of nagging injury in 37-degree temperatures?
doesn't help when it's cold, does it?
No.
Again, we're talking about substitutions. When they come on, they can affect not just the player going off and the player coming on, but also the style of play. Sometimes there's a tactical change that comes with a substitution. So a lot to happen in the next 20 minutes, I would think.
This is an instance in which all parties are disappointed to some extent with the call. in part because there was no call at all. Referees gesturing for a throw. And they're going to hold the substitutes just a hair longer. It'll be Hopino and Gibson. End of the night for Niall McCabe. He's been playing that holding midfield role. Forced into action in an unfamiliar position due to Gibson's late season injury. Sub is brought to you by MHS Global, above and beyond. And then Paolo Del Piccolo comes off. He hands off the captain's armband to Corbin Bone. So really fascinating to see how this progresses from here. It could well be Gonzalez moves into Del Piccolo's more central role, allowing Hopino the space in the wide area. And then Gibson would be like for like with Niall McCabe.
Yep. You would tend to think that would be the case. Interesting, both replacements are midfielders. It shows you how much work they do in the middle, up and down. Having said that, when you get two sets of fresh legs in midfield, it can suddenly put pressure on Charlotte Independence. Two players with the energy to run at you and get back and defend.
You also get two clean bills of conscience. Yeah. Two players on yellow cards out.
That's good substitutions. Players on yellow cards, you want to get them off the pitch as best you can. You never know when they just mistime it, get that second yellow, and that could suddenly change the entire match.
Ball ushered over. Johnson cuts back. Johnson curling. Caromed off the outside of Tosh's arm. Ball sliced ahead, seeking Lancaster, and the deflection finds Ownby. Working on Hugh Roberts, the longtime cornerstone, this Independence side. Gibson. Gomez. It's at this time that Louisville struck against Miami. Hopino. Corner for Louisville to come.
Look at the fans, they love it. We said a little bit earlier, they need to get on the front foot, Lou City, to get the fans fired up. Well, they've done it. The fans have responded, and that energy feeds back to the players. It's a perfect time. Last 20 minutes, that's when you want to be on the front foot if you're the home side. Because if you score now, it doesn't leave the opposition much time to get back at you.
The vivified corner kick. Jimenez soars upwards. Pack. Goal kick.
It was Tosh putting Pack under a little bit of pressure there, and the goalkeeper found it difficult to pluck the ball out of the air. In the end, gets away with it and gets the goal kick.
That's Roberts. It was critical the creation of the USL Black Players Alliance this year, who has created such a legacy for himself in Richmond, now in Charlotte, on the field and off. Charlotte's side with more stars than ever before. Still that blue-collar mentality, no doubt. Para will go for goal. Hubbard, tested for the first time, lifts this over. Finally, Charlotte has a go at frame. And Hubbard up to the task.
Oh, this is a wonderful save from Chris Hubbard. Look at this at full stretch and gets that right arm up to tip it over. Beautiful strike from Para. Look at that. You can see it from behind. You know, strong risk because you've got to push it away and over that crossbar. Hubbard does it brilliantly.
Magnificent from Hubbard, the pride of Trinity High School in Louisville, a 3-year starter at Notre Dame. He's had to claw and fight for this job. And for the second time, he's the man in the postseason. Ball across, Hubbard goes cascading over the top, and Ownby sends this roaring toward the bench.
Last 15 minutes coming up. It's a time for heroes. You don't want to make a mistake. On the other hand, this is the real pressure. And you mentioned this is a stage by now. Lou City had gone ahead, I think, or roundabout now against Miami. Well, they're in a much different situation here, trying to keep Charlotte at bay. This is so tight. Professional players know one mistake and it can all be over. So you, back of your mind, you're thinking, don't mess up. But even that produces its own pressure.
And this is where you rely on the experience that you spoke of earlier, isn't it?
Yeah, players who've been there before know to keep calm, that not to put themselves into difficult situations, not to get too snappy and get yellow carded for nothing.
Ownby, Riascos caught him from the side. Riascos goes into the book. Ownby is on a yellow for Louisville, and now Kelly, Para, and Riascos for Charlotte.
Nice long ball out of defense here from Lou City. And it really gives Ownby a chance with his pace. And you can just see Riascos grabs his arm. There's a coming together of legs, but it's the arm pulling back that'll get in the yellow card. He was worried about Ownby's pace. And there's no question for me that Ownby has been a constant threat and a constant problem for Charlotte throughout this match.
A fifth-third free kick for Louisville, 76 minutes in. Gomez has strolled away. All eyes on Pack and goal. Bone. No. Jimenez curling. There's Pack. Trickles out. Holpino lofting. Ownby puts his head on it, right to Pack.
By the way, Austin Pack, take a bow for coming out under massive pressure and getting that punch. He got flipped up in the air on his back, bounced straight up and ready.
Here comes Kelly, and there's Hubbard.
Sure, the goalkeeper's getting busy all of a sudden.
Marveau clips it over the top dangerously. Contact, Para into Hubbard. Those two rather cordial after the fact.
That's because Para's on a yellow card. He's very quick to turn and say, oops, sorry.
He needs no arbiter, does he? Turned over to Martinez. Marveau has a step. Marveau serving. The run from Kelly and turned too far inside. This will roll out. Chance for us to tell you. Head to Indiana to bet with Twin Spires Sportsbook, presenting sponsor of the 2021 USL playoffs. Use code LOU250. Place a $5 opening wager on any sport to unlock a $250 free bet. Twin Spires, do you know the reference? No. Churchill Downs down the road.
Oh, right.
There you go.
Thank you. I get all sorts of geography lessons, history lessons, and other informational lessons from you.
You were telling me a little bit about your upcoming 40-hour trip to
go on safari
Indeed.
in Africa.
You walked me through each step, and by the time I was done, I myself had gotten a head cold and nodded off to sleep. Hey, fans, head to Twitter. Vote on tonight's Lynn Family Sports Vision and Training Man of the Match. The poll up in the next few minutes. Vote now, twitter.com/LouCityFC. There's still so much to be written in this semifinal. The winner, we now know, will go to St. Petersburg to take on the Tampa Bay Rowdies. And without doubt, we welcome all those fans who are watching that match, who now have a far greater intrigue in what's occurring here. A handful of cards. Hubbard, a tremendous second-half save. Pack has commanded the box well for Charlotte. Gabriel Oberton came off due to injury in the first half. Irvin Para in his stead. Otherwise, we still wait for the breakthrough. The winner goes into the Eastern Conference Final. For Louisville, it would be their 7th in a row in 7 seasons. For Charlotte, they seek their first match that comes with a trophy at the end in franchise history.
You do think back to that Oberton coming off. There's a crucial moment because he's such a good player, such a high-quality player. That was one less major threat. Mind you, Irvin Para is a threat coming on, but I just think Oberton had a few more skills that he could have pulled out of his locker, and he and Marveau work so well together. And since Oberton's gone off, Marveau, you've hardly heard his name mentioned. They need him right now, Charlotte, if they're to find a breakthrough.
Bronico pushes this out. Para, Kelly. Good intervention by Tosh. Para came on in the 35th minute. Oberton took himself out of the game. He knew it instantly. Still, they have the former Newcastle man, Sylvain Marveaux. Got the league's all-time leading goal scorer and the first to ever get to double figures in goals and assists in a single season in the modern era. It's a Charlotte side that doesn't lack for talent. Ownby turns on the Jets. Ownby cuts across. The denial comes spewing back to Roberts.
Brilliant Ownby yet again with that pace. This time down the left-hand side, gets in there, plays it back. Now that's where Cam Lancaster's got to be at that near post. There's got to be some understanding that when Ownby gets to the touchline, he's going to pull it back. Didn't see Lancaster there. Just not quite able to read Ownby that time.
Gonzalez, Pack. Otherwise, Lancaster is approaching the back post.
It's opening up, isn't it? Chances more and more for both sides. Just needs one moment to go right for either set of attacks, and that could be the end of the game. Having said that, could also be another half an hour of extra time. That's how close these two teams are.
We may be here long into the Louisville night. Gomez, Holpino. Louisville trying to get to the conference final. They lost to the Rowdies here last year in the conference final. A rare instance in which their bubble was popped on their home field. Bone, Holpino, the second half inclusion to the lineup. Gibson as well. Tosh. Jimenez. Ownby. Jimenez. Leon Gonzalez. If the result holds, this game would go to extra time. If at 120, we still don't have a side that's nosed ahead. We'd potentially go to penalties, as we did a week ago in the Western Conference with RGV and Phoenix.
Yep, you got to do what you got to do. I'm not quite sure what he was doing there. But in terms of results, if you have to win it on pens, you do. But at penalties, it's very much 50-50, and you don't ever want to take that risk of getting to penalties. You want to try and control the game and get through in normal time or extra time. Obviously, that would be your intention for both sides.
Joel Johnson. We've entered into those final 10 minutes that have provided so much exuberance for Louisville opposition this year. So many goals conceded in the dying minutes of a half or of the match. One now could quite possibly prove fatal. It's Joel Johnson, never afraid to get into a tussle, the former Real Madrid man. Jimenez got dumped. It won't stop Gonzalez. Bone. Holpino. Cleverly quaffs forward. Bone. Tried to go through. Gomez fighting. Marveaux. Para.
It's Para trying to supply Enzo Martinez. You actually want it the other way around. You want Martinez supplying Para. It's a better combination. Martinez is a wonderful pass of the ball. Irvin Para, a great finisher. And just, as I say, I go back to Oberton. Ever since he left, I just haven't seen a sparkle out of Marveaux. I don't know if he's tired, whether his legs are beginning to go. They might replace him if they do go to extra time.
Holpino is onside. Holpino lost it at his feet. To your point, Enzo Martinez, 46 goals in a Charlotte uniform over the course of now 161 matches. Pack just went down. Brandon Miller is available on the bench for Charlotte. Pack came on for Miller mid-season and is not vacated the job. Change coming here. Napo Masoso returning from injury. Sub is brought to you by MHS Global Above and Beyond. Corbin Bone comes off. The captain's armband is now shuttled onto the bicep. Brian Omby. There was an irony this week that Louisville on social media tweeted a picture of their game notes showing that the injury box finally was empty. Napo Masoso returning to full training. And then 2 days later in training, Josh Winder goes down, but Masoso's inclusion now should provide a pretty good shot of adrenaline.
It should. Now you've got three fresh players in the midfield, Gibson, Masoso, and Openo. Three players who can run a bit more, close down a bit more, counter-attack a bit more quickly, and that's definitely a threat for Charlotte Independence. They've just made the one change that I can see, just Irvin Parra coming on. Maybe time to make a couple more changes.
There's Brandon Miller. He's got a smile on his face, and well, those are warm gloves, not goalkeeping gloves on his hands, as if to say never in doubt. Elsewhere, San Antonio RGV is underway, just inside a quarter hour, no score at Toyota Field in the Alamo City. Winner of that game would go to Orange County, should they advance. Oakland, should they advance, would go to the winner of San Antonio RGV. Gomez dances. Gomez appealed for a handball. They point. It's a penalty. Joel Johnson's arm extended, touches the ball. 87th minute, Louisville can take the lead now.
They can argue as much as they want. It was a clear handball, and Jonathan Gomez take a bow, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, Enzo, we said earlier on, he's going to moan and complain. That's exactly what he's doing, but it's been given, and it's a handball. There's no going to the referee's discussion about it, and have a look at it again. But Jonathan Gomez, brilliant. Stops, starts, comes back. There's the arm, and again it hits. I guess the only question you could say is Joel falling on an arm and he can't move it out the way? But I think he touches it twice, once on the line and again, and that's what makes the referee, I'm sure, give it. But there's no VAR, so there's no debate, there's no discussing it. It's been given. Cam Lancaster's going to step up. I presume he's scored a couple of penalties in recent weeks.
Lancaster in his USL championship career has converted 10 of 11. His only miss, Trey Muse, stymied him May the 23rd this year for San Diego.
Talk about pressure. A couple of minutes left. You know this is almost certainly going to be the winner. And as you say, he's got a fantastic record in taking penalties. He can take pressure as well, Cam Lancaster.
He played at Tottenham. They said he was next. One appearance in the Premier League. He never quite got back. But in Louisville, he's become a folk hero. He's won titles with this foot. He can deliver a late winner for Louisville potentially now with less than 90 seconds to stoppage. Cameron Lancaster scores! The conference final is within reach. It's Louisville's talisman once more. Lynn Family Stadium erupts.
That's a fantastic penalty from Cam Lancaster. Absolutely brilliant. Austin Pack guesses the right direction, but he thumps it. He puts it high. It's a brilliant finish, and it comes right at the end of the game, so it's almost certainly going to be the winner. Here he is. He takes a bow and waves to the crowd. And it's one of those, it's touched Joel's hand twice. Have a look. Jonathan Gomez, brilliant. But once there, it touches inside. And again, is he falling on his arm? Could he got out the way? Difficult to say, but you can't blame the referee for giving. Look at that finish. Power, pace. No way the goalkeeper's going to save that. Cam Lancaster, it's 1-0.
Same as it ever was. Time in Nashville, loan to Louisville, a multi-year deal. He is the past He is the present. He is the future of this club. First of the postseason. And he comes off after scoring the goal. The goal is presented by the Kentucky Lottery, fueling imagination, funding education, the Kentucky Lottery. Kyle Gregg comes on in Lancaster's stead. The sub brought to you by MHS Global, above and beyond. Jose Bizema comes in for Charlotte. There's no time to waste now. Stoppage time presented by Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. 5 added minutes for Charlotte to find an equalizer and send this to extra time. Well, it's Louisville will be the side moving on to St. Petersburg, Florida next weekend. Surely there are dozens in a locker room at Al Lang Stadium watching, waiting. Gomez wins the foul. Mike Jeffries, he's come so close. Finally, a team of such talent having to go on the road to one of the few venues that seems impenetrable in this league. Gregg tugged down, free kick Louisville.
And that's a good decision to bring Kyle Gregg on. Good decision also to give the free kick against Christian Fuchs. No question about that. Not so sure about the yellow card. But Kyle Gregg comes on. He's a perfect guy up front. He can hold the ball up. He can do exactly what he did there, is win the free kicks, run this clock down. Absolutely brilliant decision by Daniel Cruz to bring him on. And such a tough one for Charlotte, losing Gabriel Oberton. They've been not quite the same side since, and Lou City. And we said earlier that it was going to take one thing. As the tighter this game got, the closer to the end, you thought it was going to be one moment that was going to swing it. And I'd say not necessarily Cam Lancaster, got it, Jonathan Gomez. He won the penalty. It was his skill in the box. It was him attacking that won the penalty for Cam Lancaster to take the glory. Well done, Jonathan Gomez.
Holpino pumps, wins another throw from Bizema. Louisville would go at Tampa Bay next weekend in the Eastern Conference Final. Should this result hold, Charlotte has played the Rowdies so tight this year. They had hoped they'd get one more shot. So much mystery about Charlotte's future, surely. Won't be alone in the Queen City much longer. Ball ahead. Ball clips back. Para. Roberts slides back, keeps possession. Charlotte's had their moments this year. They have that little bit of magic they can conjure here late. Marveau, the addition that helped spur this offense to unparalleled heights. The ball across. Charlotte surely believing that's a corner instead a goal kick.
It was a nice little half chance there, and that ball came in. Decent ball in from Marveau. We haven't seen enough of him in the second half. Felt he could have done more. And he whips this ball in. There's a bit of challenging going on there. And at the very, very back stick, it's Jose Bizema. He just can't quite get a decent touch there. So close, you can see the bench there. Cam Lancaster and company all just counting down the seconds literally now.
May just be 80 ticks of the clock. Another free kick. This has been a masterclass in taking time away from Charlotte. I'm not sure this referee will ever be graced by the opportunity to be yelled at by a Premier League medal winner again.
I think he's refereed very well. It's been more than a handful this match. Eligio Araguin. No rush to take it. Lou City try and keep it in the corner. Well, that didn't work too well.
Well, last chance saloon for Charlotte. These Jacks have lost just once since the middle of September. It was at Birmingham, a Central Division opponent. They have something in them here late. It's Arman leading down the line. It's Marveau. Armin, Para slides, goal kick, and that may be that. Louisville City had never lost to Charlotte on their home ground.
Listen to that crowd. They know it's almost there. It's been a tough match, an incredibly tough match. So close. Charlotte have had their chances. No doubt that Chris Hubbard has made a couple of saves. One blinding save to his left at full stretch. But they're now within touching distance of going through this incredible crowd.
And that is it. 7 seasons, 7 conference finals. Number 17, the winner. Louisville past Charlotte. Goes to St. Pete next week to play for the Eastern Conference crown.
Brilliant scenes. Cam Lancaster got the goal. Chris Hubbard made some fantastic saves. But Jonathan Gomez, for me, provided a little moment of brilliance to turn this match in Lou City's favor. The fans are delighted. It was a cold night. It was a long, long time before their team got ahead, but they eventually did it.
All the plaudits this city has thrown thrust upon their team. Chance to play for another trophy. The man of the match, brought to you by Lynn Family Sports Vision and Training, Cameron Lancaster. He scored the winner. You know, a great goal scorer sometimes doesn't have to have the biggest impact in the run of play as long as he gets the finishing touch.
Yep, he stood up strong. What was it, 3 minutes to go? You know that that's goal. If you can score from the penalty, will probably win the match. It's massive pressure. Didn't he finish it well? Fantastic penalty. I would argue Hubbard made a couple of saves that were worthy of man of the match. Jonathan Gomez's moment of skill to win the penalty. But you take nothing away from Cam Lancaster because he does it almost every single match.
For Charlotte, stunned disbelief, this offense that had clicked to such enormous heights, silenced tonight. 3 consecutive clean sheets from Louisville City to win the Central Division, to advance in the postseason 2 rounds running. A Mortensen Family Dental clean sheet. A clean game calls for a healthy, clean smile. And Hubbard save of the game, and one would imagine that's precisely what Gibson is reminding him of. Let's take a look at the good hand save of the game presented by Allstate. You don't win without this.
Oh, Irvin Para with a great strike, but look at the strength. I mean, he's at full stretch. It's a hand that gets this ball up and over, and perfectly measured. Absolutely brilliant save there from the man in goals, Chris Hubbard.
A man on a mission, starred in this town, and now for its pro side, he joins Lancaster as the true stars. Let's take a look at tonight's Toyota move of the game. Toyota, let's go places. Tough to choose one, but Gomez, it's the skill, eh?
That's the one. That's the moment that turned this match. Jonathan Gomez, brilliant. How quick he was. Handball there, and again, it's hard to not give that a penalty. I understand Joel's frustration. He's falling with that left arm, but a double touch in the box, it's a penalty.
And Lancaster all too happy to oblige. Danny Cruz making this a family affair. Louisville 1, Charlotte 0. We'll wrap it up when we return after these messages and a word from your local station.
Enjoying the sunshine and fresh air can be hard for many of us. Advanced ENT and Allergy is the regional leader in upper airway care. From allergies, sinus problems, sleep apnea, hearing health, and more, our medical team treats everyone like family. Advanced ENT and Allergy offers same-day appointments, and for many, no referral is needed. Our outstanding team of physicians, along with state-of-the-art technology, can get you breathing right, sleeping well, and feeling better sooner. Go to advancedentandallergy.com for your appointment. 8 locations.
At Kroger, we take scrutinizing freshness to a whole new level, where only the best of the best of the best will do. But just because you can't get any higher than perfect 10 produce, that doesn't mean that we won't try. Because Kroger produce isn't just fresh, it's fresher than fresh. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey, we're back.
And ready to hit the road again in this new RAV4.
This is one of the most versatile vehicles on or off the road.
No wonder it's the #1 selling SUV.
You got all kinds of room back here.
Connectivity for all your devices, and it comes in a hybrid that gets 40 mpg.
Now, during Toyota's fall savings, get 1.9 financing for 72 months on a new RAV4 or RAV4 hybrid with 2 years no-cost maintenance included.
It's pretty easy to see why RAV4 is #1.
Toyota, let's go places.
Adoring fans, this may be the last time Louisville City fans see this team on the field this year. Louisville will go on to St. Petersburg to try and avenge last year's defeat in the conference final. The win of that game will ultimately host the USL Championship final November the 28th on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and SiriusXM FC. The match summary is presented by Dano's Seasoning. We start in the 33rd minute, Gary, and it's Louisville into the attack for really the first time of the night.
Yeah, Lancaster just shoots wide here. Lovely ball from Brian Omby, who I thought was fantastic throughout this match. Lancaster's trying to pull it wide of the goalkeeper there and just can't get it past Austin Pack. Well, gets it past him. Unfortunately, gets it past the post as well.
Skip ahead, Lancaster creating, bone cutting this across, and if not for quick thinking by Pack, maybe Gonzalez has the winner 2 weeks running.
Yeah, nice little half chance here. Corbin Bone doing great to get in the box. And Gonzalez, you can see the goalkeeper's left leg blocks that one. Good save from Austin Pack.
Ahead to the 74th. And Charlotte's best opportunity of the match. Para, drive, Hubbard earned his paycheck.
Brilliant save. Seen it before. Love to see it every single time. Great right hand to push that ball over the crossbar.
And then the moment that ultimately defined the game. Gomez the cutback. Johnson's arm falls on the ball. He gets a second touch. Gomez wins the penalty that Lancaster would bury.
Yeah, Lancaster buries it superbly. Jonathan Gomez wins it so well. Tough on Joel. Not much you can do when you're falling and your arm's in the way, but I guess it has to be a penalty all said and done. And again, Brian Omby in picture. What a game he had.
C and L, heating and air, full-time match stats. Chance, Gary, for you to try and put words to the match, honestly, we've looked forward to for a very long time.
So close for so much of the match, but in the end, look at Lou City. 5 shots on target to Charlotte's 3. I thought Charlotte up until about the 70th minute were looking the better side. They were stronger, but without Gabriel Oberton, they just didn't threaten enough around the box. And be fair to Lou City, last 20 minutes came on strong, and that's what saw them through in the end. They were the ones attacking at the end. They got the penalty. They are through to the Eastern Conference Final.
Certainly they are. Elsewhere, San Antonio through Patino has taken a 1-0 lead on Rio Grande Valley. That now 30 minutes old. Orange County and Oakland kick off in 23 minutes. But the Eastern Conference is done, and 1-1, the 2 division champs.
Yeah, well, it's fair enough. If you can win your division and get to the final, you've proved that you are the best. What a final it will be. Tough one for Lou City to go to Tampa Bay and win, because they're so good at home. But what a great game that will be as well.
Brad Estes and the coach, we put so much faith in. He said he's the man that can continue to lead this team. Danny Cruz enjoying this moment. He'll worry about Tampa Bay surely tomorrow. What a match tonight at Lynn Family Stadium. 10,000 plus enjoyed it in person. We hope you did as well. For our entire Vista WorldLink NEP crew led by producer Eric Falero, director Gage Tillotson, Miguel Manella, Steffi Aguilera, and Gary Bailey alongside. Mike Watts saying for the 100th time, thanks for watching Lou City Soccer. 1-0, Lou City on to the conference final.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.